Welcome back to another episode of the Everyday Joy podcast. I'm your host, Ash Couchman, and I want to try something a little bit different with you today. We've got on Monday's episode, the Heart to Heart with Joel Bell from Convoy of Hope, so you can tune into that episode. But for the rest of the week, I really just want to allow you to spend some time with God rather than hearing me yap away with a lovely guest. I really want you to have some time to reflect and think. I'm going to talk about the verse, give you a quick thought, and then a few questions for you to reflect on. I want you to really wait on God. Now, today's words to live by comes from Proverbs 29, verse 23. It says, "Arrogance will bring your downfall, but if you are humble, you will be respected." Now, humility can be a tricky thing. Sometimes we think being humble means thinking less of ourselves, but I actually think that it's more about willing to admit that we don't know everything, that we don't always get it right, and that maybe there's something that God wants to show me. You know, in the Sermon of the Mount in Matthew in the Bible, the first line when Jesus comes and does his radical teaching, it says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for those is the kingdom of heaven." Now, being poor in spirit, it actually means recognizing our own spiritual emptiness. It's the opposite of pride. It's saying that we can't be self-satisfied or arrogant or rely on ourselves. We actually have to depend on God. And that can be a hard thing to wrestle out. I heard a pastor recently say, if you are 80% humble, but 20% prideful, that is still struggling with pride. Now, that's not something to stress out about because it's something that we can learn and reflect on. But sometimes we can compare ourselves to other people rather than comparing ourselves to God. And I want to leave you with a few questions to reflect on with this. Where in your life are you finding it hardest to admit that you might be wrong? Is there some pride there? Is there something that you maybe need to apologize for? Maybe even asking God, is there something you're trying to teach me that my pride is getting in the way of hearing? Am I unwilling, God, to hear what you're saying because I think I can actually do it on my own? We've all been there. And then the last thing I want you to reflect on is asking God, where in my life do I believe I don't need you? Now, I know that sounds like a big statement, but it's more like asking yourself, God, where am I taking control? Is it family life? Is it career? Is it work? Is it church? Now, we don't need to rush those. Just sit with them. Ask God. And for the next few minutes, just really wait and think and pray. I'm not going to talk. I'm just going to let you reflect on those things. First one, where in my life am I finding it hardest to admit that I might be wrong? God, is there something you're trying to teach me that my pride is getting in the way of hearing from? And God, where in my life do I believe I don't need you? Where am I taking control? I know this episode is a little bit different, but I hope that it encourages you. I really hope you can take a moment today to reflect on those questions. Maybe you heard from God straight away, but maybe those questions will be something that you dwell on and consider over the next few days. But write them out if you need them. I'm going to put them in the show notes. Reflect on them. Ask God how He can help you to grow, and reflect on those thoughts of what being truly humble with God looks like.